I've given you the premise before that debates don't prove who is right, especially not when you're debating random college kids. Debates don't serve to figure out what is the best idea or what does the evidence say. Debates are fundamentally rhetorical contests about who's better at debating. We have a great example here. Charlie Kirk does this thing where he goes to colleges with security and debates college kids. Okay. And this is a video that was being floated around as Charlie Kirk just destroying this kid, crushing, brutalizing this kid on the topic of tariffs. Except when you calmly and rationally, without the pressure of an audience and going up against a skilled debater like Charlie Kirk, when you just evaluate the facts calmly, as I encourage people to do, you find that the things that Charlie Kirk says in his defense of Trump's tariffs aren't real. They don't make sense. They're not true. So tell me if this is useful. Let's dive in.
I would like for you to have a more principled position on tariffs and criticize Donald Trump for his tariffs.
Well, I'm super pro-tariff, so why would I criticize it?
Because they make us poor.
Okay, so let's play that out. If that is correct, how did China get so rich?
Well, China has they liberalized their economy. They got a stock market.
You are not allowed to import American goods in China. How are they so rich?
This is already totally off the rails. He's using a couple of rhetorical techniques. One, he has a planned response, which is to bring up China and China getting wealthier. Second, he's simply repeating the question. China's growth was not primarily due to tariffs. The student here, this guy, is actually correct. The economic liberalization of China, foreign direct investment, state-led industrial policy, integration into global trade networks like 2001 with the World Trade Organization, that's really what happened in China. Now, yes, there were periods during that during which China used some protectionist policies, but they were combined. This is the critical part, which Trump's not doing. Those protectionist policies in China were combined with export-oriented industrialization. They subsidize domestic firms. They manipulate currency. They restrict imports selectively. That does not equate to China got rich on tariffs. Tariffs were not the driver. They were part of a strategy that included market reforms and labor exploitation and urbanization and technology transfer for multinationals. Trump's just doing blanket tariffs. False equivalency. The student suspects that, but Charlie Kirk just repeats the same thing. Let's continue.
Because they have developed capital, they're
not liberalized. So how'd they get so rich?
They've become more economically free.
There's another incorrect claim from Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk claims they are not liberalized. How did they get rich? This is factually wrong. And it's harder to get to the truth than to just say, it kind of sounds like Charlie Kirk was right here. It's harder to do the work of getting to the truth. But China underwent major trade liberalization in 1978. State-owned enterprises shrank in China. Private enterprise surged. International trade boomed. Now, China still has non-market features, of course, but the transformation was undeniably toward greater market openness, especially in manufacturing and exports. Charlie Kirk just goes, that didn't happen. And he says it confidently. Oh, that's not debating. That's just repeating a lie.
The last 30 years, they made an incredible transformation.
So why can't we do the same?
Just because China is making a mistake doesn't mean we should make the same mistake. But China would be richer if they didn't have tariffs.
But let's first of all, number one, the optimal goal is not just to improve GDP or be rich.
Of course.
Number two, it's about worker well-being, middle class flourishing.
Yes.
Okay. Charlie says the goal isn't GDP growth. It's worker well-being and a flourishing middle class. Philosophically valid.
I would like for you to have a more...
The video just went nuts. We'll get back to where we were in a moment.
If they have
they're not liberalized.
Yeah. Okay. We're okay. Charlie says something which is philosophically valid. GDP is not the only metric, sure, but tariffs don't help workers. He's now distracting from the real issue. And in fact, when Trump's tariffs just raise costs to consumers and hurt exporters, especially in agriculture and manufacturing, we know that it's not going to help the middle class flourish. By Charlie's own metrics, it's not going to help. Studies find that the tariffs specifically on steel and aluminum already raised prices, and they cost more jobs than the number of jobs that they saved. Look at the Peterson Institute for International Economics. Look at Brookings. They did studies and they say Trump's tariffs in term one created job losses. All right, let's continue.
So how'd they get so rich?
They've become more economically free. So over the last 30 years, they made an incredible transformation.
So why can't we do the same?
Just because China is making a mistake.
And let me skip ahead because I know we already saw some of
Of course.
Number two, it's about worker well-being, middle class flourishing.
Yes.
Number three, can you point to times in American history where the middle class did great? Almost every time we had tariffs.
Okay, but that's correlation, not causation.
No, it is.
That's,
Well,
no,
hold on, but think
no
about it.
economist agrees with you. You're wrong about this.
But
The student is correct. Charlie says historically the middle class did great when we had tariffs. There are times when things were okay with tariffs. There are times when things were not okay. This is indeed a correlation versus causation fallacy. Tariffs existed during periods of American growth, like the late 19th century. But so did industrialization. So did immigration. So did resource extraction, which arguably are much more responsible for that growth. And then you have, of course, a counterexample. After World War II, the biggest middle class boom, I would argue, in American history, global trade expanded and tariffs dropped. Tariffs dropped. The best middle class decades, 50s to the 70s, coincided with tariffs going down and global markets growing. The counterexample to what Charlie Kirk is saying.
I'm sorry. First of all, that's not true. Some agree. Most do not agree.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of these economists are bought and paid for by the corporate class, and they've been wrong about almost everything the last couple of years. They're the ones that...
Okay. And this is where the argument, it goes, he's losing on the substance. So Charlie goes to, oh, the economists are bought and paid for. It's an ad hominem argument. Anti-expert populism, common, just don't trust the experts, sidesteps the reality that what he is suggesting is that there is a conspiracy to lie about what tariffs have done in the past, which doesn't make any sense. Now, of course, economists are influenced by their institutions, but there is broad consensus here. The CBO, the IMF, multiple nonpartisan think tanks have shown tariffs reduce economic efficiency and consumer welfare when done as a blanket. Targeted, limited time, combined with subsidies, okay. But what Trump is doing has long been demonstrated by serious economists across the political spectrum to be bad for the economy. This is a clip that got, let me see here, 128,000 likes. I don't even know how many views, but 128,000 likes, probably millions of views, because Charlie Kirk is just so good and so smart. But when you calmly and rationally say, wait a second, I know he repeated a lot of stuff. I know he spoke louder. I know he spoke more. But was he right? He wasn't. And this is why these debates do very little to prove what is true. On the bonus show today, we're going to talk about a judge ruling that the White House cannot ban the Associated Press from the Oval Office in Air Force One. We will talk about Americans' view on Russia in light of Trump's first 70 or so days in office. And we will talk about what's going on in the bond market as well, a story that, again, unless you really deeply look and understand, you may not recognize the significance, but it is significant. All of those stories and more on today's bonus show. Sign up at joinpacman.com. Remember that my book, The Echo Machine, is available for sale, at least for now. At least for now. More on that soon. At least for now, it's available everywhere books are sold. The Echo Machine was an instant New York Times bestseller, extraordinarily exciting. And remember, if you've already bought the book, please do remember to review it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Goodreads. I'll see you on the bonus show. I'll be back here tomorrow. Guys in my audience, I know you're tired of the chafing with traditional underwear. Our sponsor, Sheath, makes the most comfortable boxer briefs I've ever worn. If you're sick of the boxers that are too loose or the briefs that are too tight, Sheath is for you. Sheath underwear is designed with two special pouches in the front. Keeps everything separate in its own compartment with extra confidence that you will feel throughout the day, keeping things separate and comfortable, no more sticking and chafing. I was skeptical about the dual pouch, I admit it, but it is game-changing. Everything stays where it is supposed to be, extra useful when working out at the gym, and even if you don't want to use the pouches, you don't have to. It is still the most comfortable pair of underwear I have ever owned. It will blow your mind how soft and stretchy these are, made with moisture-wicking technology to keep you dry. If you were ready to take underwear comfort to a new place, a place you didn't even know it could go, head over to sheathunderwear.com/Pacman and get 20% off with the code Pacman. The link is in the description.